This is World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with your host, Carl Gruber. World Awakenings is a podcast dedicated to opening your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how they play an all-important role in our daily life. So join Carl on this enlightening experience as he interviews metaphysical and spiritual experts to discuss, debate, and delve deeply into the hows and whys of this worldwide awakening.
The Love Tuner is a revolutionary breathing and meditation device that combines a simple yet profound breathing exercise with a 528 Hz frequency, bringing you into a state of instant relaxation. The Love Tuner is a stylish necklace that comes beautifully packaged in an elegant premium gift box. Pull the Love Tuner out of the cap and place the rounded side with the engraved Love Tuner logo between your lips. Blow into the Love Tuner gently, like on a flute, to create a smooth, long note with a constant volume. You can make the note last as long as you like. After exhaling, inhale through your nose, allowing air to flow into the center of your body. Just leave the Love Tuner between your lips as you inhale, and then exhale again with the next note. Repeat as long as it feels good. We recommend at least 6 breathing cycles. After tuning, enjoy the silence and your fully tuned state of being. Caution: love tuning may cause miracles.
Hey, this is the show World Awakenings, a fast track to enlightenment, and I'm your host, Carl Gruber. Now, are you tired of watching the nightly news on your TV informing you that the world is nothing but attack, chaos, murder, power struggles, and hate? Well, if so, then welcome to the show where all are welcome. You can watch this show now on YouTube and New Reality TV. And of course, you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts or any audio-only online outlet out there on the internet. So with that, let's blast off and check in with our guest. So here on episode number 240, we meet Isabelle Daikeler, who is a holistic wellness advisor, fitness and nutrition expert, and co-creator of Shakeology with several other programs. She's devoted to helping people live with less stress and more authenticity, blending mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and spiritual well-being into a holistic approach to life. That sounds like a good plan to me. Her journey into wellness is deeply personal and profoundly spiritual. At 22, while pursuing a thriving acting career, a devastating car accident left her unable to walk. Determined to heal, she ended up turning to alternative medicine, meditation, and self-designed recovery program, and one that took over 2 years and led to a deep awakening about the mind-body-spirit connection. Boy, this is going to be a cool story. Since then, Isabelle has dedicated her life to guiding others towards wholeness to help them align body, mind, and spirit. Her innovative work features the Harmonic Egg, a revolutionary modality that employs sound and light therapy to restore, balance, and cultivate lasting calm. All very cool stuff. With that, welcome, Isabelle.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, what an interesting story and what you are doing now. I'm really excited about this. I'd like to dive deep into this stuff, and I guess the best place for us to start our conversation is to find out about you and your early life. What was your childhood like, and what happened with this horrific car accident that changed the course of your life?
That's so interesting. It's rare that we go back to childhood. That's interesting.
Well, that's the child is father to the man or the woman, so.
Yeah, no, I mean, it all starts there, right?
Yep.
At least this time around. So my family back home is mostly, almost all of them are in the film industry, music industry, producing, writing, management, all that stuff. And I was expected to do that. Unfortunately, it was not really my thing, but I was raised thinking that that's all I was good at. So it was expected of me, and it wasn't said, but it was hinted everywhere that I'm probably not good at anything else. Not maliciously, it's just how it was. Everybody in the family did that. So that was what I was raised to do. That's what I did for a long time from a very early age. I lived in Europe for a long time. I moved there when I was 16. But I wasn't happy. It was not fulfilling or satisfying, but I didn't know why. I was too young. I was trained to be in the business, and I was very dissatisfied. And it was confusing for me because I genuinely love, especially writing. I really love writers and I love stories. I love filmmaking. It just wasn't my thing. But because I loved so many aspects of it, it was confusing for me. I assumed that I must love it. And when I moved to LA, oh my God, how old was I? 19? I moved to film something. My timeline might be a little off, but who cares? Around that time, um, that's that's when I really thought I was gonna really go into the work of acting. Got the perfect agent, the right manager, the right little jobs here and there. Like I was on track, and I was more and more unhappy. So what happened is at some point I decided to just shift, but I had no idea where to go. So I quit. I quit my agency. My parents were devastated. Um, but I didn't know what to do. I had no idea what to do. I just knew I was miserable. But I love sports. I was always athletic. So I decided to study training, functional training, rehabilitation, and that's what I ended up doing. I did it for a very long time. I was successful at it. Sports psychology, rehabilitation, functional training, sport training. But I have to say, now that I'm thinking about it, is through it all, my favorite part was getting to know people because I could, oh, and sport massage. So I was hired. It's funny enough, somehow I attracted the film industry and the sport industry, but I would be hired and I would do the nutrition, I would do massage, and I would do training and rehabilitation. So I was deeply involved with my clients' lives. And that was my favorite, getting to know them. Only now, looking back, do I realize that. But I love getting to know individuals. And it was very helpful to know how to manage what we were trying to accomplish together. You have to know people to be able to have an exchange. Um, so anyway, what happened is several things. I had a car crash at some point where I was told I was going to limp for the rest of my life. And then I decided that that was not okay. Because now by then, my whole identity was strength and power, right? Physically strong. I decided to research rehabilitation deeply. I got myself out of that predicament, only to get sick not long after. Got quite sick, but nobody knew what it was. I got more and more exhausted. I think they would call it chronic fatigue syndrome nowadays when they don't really know what it is, but it's a good name. And so I was so exhausted that I ended up um, not even being able to like lift my feet to get inside my place. Like I really crawl into my bed. I went from doctors to doctors to doctors. Nobody knew what was going on. That was back in the days. Um, and then some doctor tried to give me an antidepressant, which made no sense to me because, of course, I'm depressed. I lost all my clientele. I have to borrow money to pay my rent and my bills. I'm scared. Nobody knows what to do with me. So, yeah, I was depressed. And that was the most normal aspect of what was going on with me. For me, it was like, yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense to me right now. Somehow I was led to those amazing women in Koreatown here in LA. I don't know. I don't remember how I got there. But they gave me these huge basket of root vegetables and adaptogen mushrooms and herbs, which at the time I didn't know what it was. And they told me like how to like boil it and cook it for hours. And I started drinking these really disgusting potions for several months, and I really started feeling better. So for some reason, that had a huge impact. I think it's because these women really sat with me and took time to feel me. They were really with me. They really were looking at me. And then it connected me to Mother Earth, right? It connected me to the power of plants and power of Earth. And it became actually part of what I did for my clients. I would create potions for them, and it's what began my ability to create that shake that you mentioned in my introduction, which is filled with these herbs and mushrooms. Um, but then when I gave birth, I was 40, I'm 58 now. I ended up not being able to walk for about 10 years. And that was really the turnaround. Nobody knew what to do with me. Nobody knew how to rehabilitate me. And that's when the channeling and the healing work um, and the real 180-degree happened, because I had this concept of myself that I would be the kind of mother that would have her kid in her backpack, hiking with it. And I ended up being flat on my back for 10 years, barely walking in the house, scared, in pain. So I was in acute pain and in not just acute, but constant chronic. At the same time, I lost like 20 pounds. My marriage was challenged by it. So the concept of who I was really shifted. And then I had this night where I ended up on my tailbone with my upper body and lower body elevated, shaking for literally 3 days, 3 nights, nonstop. If I thought, oh my God, I have to pee, it would stop. I would crawl to the bathroom, come back, and on my way back, I would start shaking again in the right spot that I was, like this. It didn't stop. I am not exaggerating. Funny enough, and I think many of us that go through these experiences always say, funny enough, I wasn't scared. I knew it was good for me. I felt safe. I felt well. I felt taken care of. And also looking back, I realized it was sort of somatic work, right? My body was shaking and moving, untangling, dropping trauma, dropping stressors that had accumulated through all the things I've been through. Um, and when I stopped, I didn't realize it, but that's when everything had shifted. So as I was mentioning, right, I was doing body work that was called Chinate Song back in the days, Chinese modality. Um, and when at some point I realized I was not walking, but maybe I can do my work because Chinate Song is accomplished on the floor on a mat. So I thought, oh, I don't have to stand. And I tried to dig my elbow and my forearm. This is when you start with that modality into the client, and my hands went up. And then I started feeling energy like it was water, and it started moving. And the healing work started. And so my whole life progressively changed to what I do now. So fitness and health was always part of what I loved, well-being, but now it's much more focused on the energetics. And it was not something I wanted to do or achieve. It's not something I learned. All these things, what they call channeling, healing, it just, I was more like a dog going to the vet. I fought it. I was not wise about it. I fought it every step of the way. And then I finally surrendered. And it felt like a shirt that was pulled inside out. Like I was strong on the outside, but I was filled with fear on the inside. And all these events sort of pulled me out, exposed the inside, the outside dropped. So my identity as a strong woman dropped. And all the things that I felt I could do and fix, I was helpless. And that night was because I surrendered. I forgot to say that. It was the first prayer in my life. I really surrendered. I couldn't fix it anymore. I couldn't think my way through anymore. I was in pain and desperate and lost. And the real prayer went out. And that's when my body started shaking. So for me, it was one step at a time. And it was all felt learning. It was moving through it, through my body, that the wisdom and the compassion and the energetics, the fields became very real. They were not concepts that I had read about. It was teaching me as I was going, and I healed myself through all that. And now I do what I do. Yeah, I hope it made sense.
Oh my gosh, all I can say is wow, just wow. I get the movie rights to your life. Holy mackerel. Wow, that is amazing. So you're born in a family of film and actress, and then you have this car wreck that you can't walk. You come back through holistic, alternative modalities of healing. But let me ask this: did I hear that right? You had a child, and then you couldn't walk for 10 years. What did you determine what it was? Why you couldn't walk?
Yes, it's only after this whole thing happened, and I met the right person and his wife. So he was an osteopath, but his wife, apparently in France, especially, when you give birth, there are people that are trained to basically go inside the pelvic bowl and make sure everything is put back in place.
Mm.
They don't have that here. And so finally he said, I think that no matter what I do on the outside, I think you need to be helped on the inside. So she started doing a treatment, and that really put me on the road of recovery. But it's interesting that it took 10 years for me to find that individual. And funny enough, it created an incredible relationship with my son. It wasn't based on what I thought it was going to be, but it was based on a deep connection because I was very humbled.
Mhm.
I was like a child in many ways, and the relationship I have with my son and I've had for since the get-go, I don't think could be this incredible if I had been the athletic mother that I thought I was going to be. Not that
Mhm.
one goes against the other, of course, but for me, it made me an open, vulnerable, curious, eager to learn about life mother. And this new little being, right? As we know, they're still connected to all those frequencies. So he was raised very differently because of my experience through all this. And it was very beneficial because he also had the benefit of, these concepts that we are all awakening to, the frequency, the energy, the concept that the masters have told us for thousands of years, but all of us need to step into our lives and learn our own ways. Um, the reality, the truthfulness, the tangibility of the frequencies that are us, right? Like they say, spirit in the body, having a human experience. I was moving through that big time. So that was just life for him. He was raised that that's just as real as the physical body. And so he taps into it and utilizes it like it's his best friend. He taps into the energies, the frequencies of himself, and he pays attention and he listens, not because I taught him, but because he was raised with it, because I was learning that. So it was such a gift as opposed to many of us that were not told any of this. And then once some of us stumbled upon it and have to sort of work on letting go of concepts in order to allow all that to come to the surface and flourish. It's, to me, I call it like as if you discover you had a third arm all along, but you never used it. That's what it feels like for me. Like these frequency, these energetic aspects of who we are, we're not being taught about it and we don't utilize it. We don't, it's not like an aspect that we can tap into that allows us to make perhaps better decisions for ourselves. So my son was intimately raised with that as an experience, not a concept. He didn't read it in a book. So I watch him navigate the world, and that's just normal. It's as opposed to me, I had to literally be flat on my back for 10 years to discover that, right?
What a blessing for he's
Yes.
18 years old now,
He's
right?
17 now, yeah.
17, yeah. What a blessing for a young man to have that ability, when in a world where, many youngsters his age are oblivious to all of that.
Yeah. And I'm noticing, I don't know if that's where you want to go, but
It's fine.
I've learned so much because he's a little man, right? So I'm watching for this young man what we call feminine masculine. It's almost concepts that I don't even see in him. It's more surrendering and utilizing the energetics is perhaps what we call the feminine, but it's just part of what we are. It's just an aspect, and we may call it the feminine, but I watch him and it's just an aspect that he can console with and ask advice from. Um, so the whole feminine masculine thing, as I'm watching him grow up, I'm like, I don't know if it's really about that, but it's more about accessing that part of ourselves then allow us to move through the world differently.
Hmm. Well, let's go back to your own healing here for a moment. Now, you follow this beautiful holistic path of healing, thanks to your Korean friends. But were you ever tempted to just go the traditional path where the doctors want to do surgeries and pharmaceuticals?
Oh yes, throughout that 10 years, even when I was mentioning the first time around the car crash, right? I that's all I saw because that's all I knew, regular Western medicine. Nobody had answers for me at the time. And I went through that slightly differently through rehabilitation experts, people that were experts at the body. So I went through a slew of that. Plus, I'm not going into the gruesome details of what my body was going through, but it was more to it that was creating all that pain. And so I went from doctors to doctors, and what they were offering me was quite frightening. Like one doctor offered me a way to try to heal it, but it would perhaps 50% chances that I would be incontinent for the rest of my life. So it was like, ugh, do I take the chance? But I encountered these choices, and every time I would say, I can't do it. And I kept searching and searching. And I was able to heal it without any of that stuff. So, no, the temptation of being told that you can fix it, but you can tell they don't really know. And you have to listen to that part of you that just says, I don't think so, which is scary because you think, I don't know. Why would I listen to me?
Hmm. Well,
But
the vast majority of modern medicine still they want to fix the effect and not the source.
yes,
And that's how you actually get healed is going to the source of the issue. And it may not
yes.
be where it's blossoming out. It may be in a different part of your body or your psyche.
Yeah. And when I discovered that woman and we went through that, I also, throughout the years, went deep in herbs and that kind of medicine to help that area. And in so many ways, I dove deeper in especially herbs and elixirs, really. I dove even deeper into all that too. And also, uh, I guess you call it meditation, but I wouldn't have known that it was called meditation at the time. But I spent hours and hours on the floor of my basement, allowing my body to move. It would just move, and in the movement, I could feel release on the emotional level. I didn't understand. I didn't know, but my body would move for hours, and it just felt like things were lifting off me, and there was some kind of knowing or wisdom that felt like just almost like feather landing on me, layer after layers. And I think people call that channeling. Might be different. I think just like cooking, right? You can channel in a million different ways. You can cook different kind of foods and different style. Mine is, it's almost like if I was to be linear about it, it's as if all these layers within me was information. And when I talk to people now, my when I do the work at my center, it's almost like I tell the mind, okay, not now. It has very little place in what I do. It's the art of listening and allowing that information to move through me, which is what healing is to me as well. When I do the healing work, the energy work, I don't do anything. I really don't. I step out and the fields are moving through me between fields available and the person that is saying, to me, it's as if they're saying, I have not been able to surrender to knowing that I can access that at any time. But somehow I'm going to trust that you can, and I will allow it. And it is allowed. And my goal is that eventually these individuals can access these fields on their own as well, because it's available to all of us because it is us, right? Quantum physics says we're 99.9% space. So what do we think that is? Those are all just fields of energetic flow, 99% space. The rest is all that. So not accessing these fields to enhance our lives is silly when you really, in a very down to earth way, realize how much space you are. And when you think about fields around you and your fields and the fields of a tree or of a cat, there is no boundaries there. It all intertwines, it's all one. So all these great masters telling us we all one, you do unto other as you do unto yourself. It all starts to make sense in a very rational manner. So I learned that through experiences, through moving through all these events, which is nothing new. I'm not saying anything new. I'm just another individual who, through her own life, stumbled upon all this, and thankfully so.
Well, you just covered a whole lot of ground with what you were saying, because I was going to ask about your meditation and also when you step aside and do healing. I mean, it's a very spiritual ramification there because it's almost like you're letting the energy and spirit work through you.
I honestly, I don't know how anybody else would do it any other way. It
Yeah.
is not I, the human, definitely not. And it is not mine. Like if I'm here now doing that, anybody could surrender to that and access it in their own colorful way, right?
Well, let me ask you more about channeling. I've had many, many, many channels on here, and channeling, from what I've seen with my guests, is an energy or a being coming through a human and speaking through them. Some are trance channels that completely step aside, and they have to watch the video in order to find out what they said. Some are, I just had a conscious channel on. I mean, is that the type of channeling you do?
Yeah, I mean it's that's the beauty of it all. As I'm getting older, much more grounded. That's why I called my place authenticity, which is really just tell the truth to yourself and to others and be truthful in the manner of living your life, right? And that leads you everywhere. The truth shall set you free, correct? Um, so mine is different. And it took me a long time to even talk about it because I think the world of spirituality, just like any facets of our lives, can be hijacked by the ego and a sense of soothing, a feeling of low self-worth. So when it first started with me, it was very radical. My voice was different. It was very new. I didn't know what it was. I won't get into how that happened because it's not relevant how it happened to me. Um, but over time, my voice started, it integrated into me. And then now it's just my voice. And that made me skeptical. Like I became very aware of the ego and how easily it can taint your channel. So I became hyper vigilant. I'm a Virgo, and I could see it happen. I was hyper vigilant, very difficult to surrender to it. Um, so I did not run with it. I pushed it back and pushed it back, tested it and tested it. And I think for me now, it's as opposed to out there, something out there, an energy out there moving in, it's um, as within, so without. So it's deep, deep inner wisdom that I believe comes from these fields, the spark that give us life. You can call it God, nature, the powers that be, whatever you're comfortable with. But I think it is what we are. So it's by stepping aside and surrendering to that, it is allowed to share information. So to me, it feels from deep, deep inside. Although I noticed when I go in there, I tend to tilt my head to the left, like to the right, up. But it feels like it's a wiser aspect of me. Um, and I noticed too that I need to be asked sincerely. So if somebody asks out of pure curiosity or trying to challenge me, or their ask is limited in how much of an answer they want, like the channel that those fields respond accordingly. When I have someone who's wide open and really listening, the same way that all these years on the floor, I was wide open and really listening to the silence. That's what I realized. That's where I learned it. Then, my God, like the information pours, and I don't have to announce, and I usually don't announce that it's a channel because that's the word we know for that kind of thing. But I don't announce it. I just talk. And they don't need to know that it's coming from there. Some people can pick it up, my tone and my cadence, usually calmer, slower, and my hands will move in a way that I can pick up on it. But I don't announce it anymore. It's just, it will kick in when needed. And I think it's wiser than I, and it responds to authenticity. It responds according to the true ask. And I can feel that. It's like unbelievable when the true ask is in front of me and I learn, right? It speaks and I'm learning. So that's how it happens to me. Again, I'm not in charge.
Well, many of the channels that I know now, and I've talked to them, met them. When they first start channeling, their voice does change. There can be an accent, but the more and more that they channel,
Mm.
it's exactly what happened. It
Oh,
tends to go back to their normal voice. Even I'm sure you're familiar with Abraham with Esther Hicks.
yes.
And
Yes.
her voice was very different. Now it's basically just Abraham's coming through, but it's Esther's voice. But still, yeah, things are different. Now,
Mm.
we are talking to Isabelle Daikeler. This is an amazing story. I want to thank you because you shared some really deeply personal stuff earlier. And thank you for being so kind to share that. And I think that's going to benefit many of the people watching and listening. But I do want to ask you this. One of your primary goals of what you do now is helping people live a less stressful life. Now, as we know, living a human life is stressful. How do you help people de-stress?
I think the same way that I've been helped, again, I call it authenticity and I mean it. So, helping people, hopefully, my intent is to support them in being at peace with all the things they hide, the things they're ashamed of, the thing they feel will stop people from loving them. So all the things that are secretive, that they shame themselves and judge themselves upon and suppress, and then it goes in the body and it changes how you perceive the world. So the goal is to be a good listener, and to allow them to feel. Again, a lot of my growth came from the divinity of the body. I don't see mind-body connection. It's all one thing for me. Again, when you think about the body, is 99, it barely is there, according to quantum physics. So it is God. And if I can help them connect with their bodies, again, put the voice, say not now, to the judgment and the thinking, guiding them through conversation and just feeling, using their breath, allowing them to understand in an intuitive manner, not with their mind, but by allowing themselves to feel and to breathe and to trust that they are strong enough and they are lovable and they are good enough to forgive and feel all that. I don't need to bring any wisdom and understanding. The body is so clever. Once it's released, all sorts of aha moments happen. So the goal of the center is sitting, hopefully being a good listener, discovering how I could support them with the harmonic egg, with its sound and light technology, or through the healing work. But just like in the beginning of my life, with enjoying conversation with my clients, we're back to conversations and good listening. And all these tools are simply to make peace with oneself, to be honest, and not to think that it has to be outsourced, but it's all here, available through pause and silence, feelings, allowing. And then the wisdom comes and humor and smiles come. It's very interesting. I did that a lot when I was in pain. I would go deep into the feelings of the pain, and then I would emote, but I would stop my mind from judging the pain and all the fear-based thoughts of it will never end, and how come I can't fix this? Nobody's able to help me. This is it for the rest of my life. This thinking that basically recycles the pain inside of your body. When you can say not now and just let the feelings move through you, then it's a true clearing. Then the feelings you think will never end. The crying you think and the pain you think will never end. It does end. But when the mind doesn't hijack the feelings, it moves through and out. And you're slightly better and lighter at the end of it. And you constantly have little understanding about yourself. And that's what I call being honest. Honestly sitting with all that you are and not shaming any aspect of it. So yeah, that's the intent. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And I think you're talking about, you have to get in a quiet place of listening. And I think that's difficult in modern society today because everybody's got earbuds in, everybody's got a cell phone in their face or some TikTok thing or social media. And many people, they don't even know how to find that silent reflective spot. And it is available, but you have to learn how to do it.
Well, also we have this all or nothing mentality, especially nowadays, right? The biohacking, like all the things you have to do gets exhausting. And very often, especially if I have people that are great doer, very busy, I'll say to them, all you need is a few moments throughout the day. 2 breaths. Just take 2 breaths several times a day. If you need your phone to beep to help you remember to do that, please do. But just learn to do little breaths, 2 breaths, in 1 breath, several times throughout the day. I like several times throughout the day as opposed to like 2 long moments to sort of retrain your central nervous system, your new default, to because you get tense and then you take your breath and you get tense and you remind your body through the breath that it doesn't have to be felt or handled this way. It can be handled this way. You can respond. You don't have to react. And so I like those breaths, which is accessible at any time. I don't even tell you how you're supposed to breathe, how many seconds breathe out or breathe in. I don't even go there in the beginning. It's not necessary. Just breathe. That's it. Several times throughout the day. You would be shocked. The ego has a hard time to hijack that. It's very hard for the ego to say, I don't even have time for one breath once in a while throughout my day. And yet it's very effective.
I'd just like to go back one more time on the topic of authenticity. Would you say that integrity is a key part of living your life authentically?
It's honest. Integrity comes with honesty. The truth shall set you free. Indeed, it's honest. But if we are ashamed of so many aspects of ourselves, and if we keep it secret, if we hide it, you can read all the books in the world. You can go to all the retreats in the world. You can wear white and have beads and burn incense. All of it is lovely. I'm not saying it's not, but it starts with very fundamental here and now truth, which is feel the things that you're hiding from yourself, feeling it, letting go, sharing it when you feel safe allows you to then be authentic. How can you be authentic with secrets? Right? And all these secrets and all these emotions pent up inside of you changes your response to the world. I'll give you a super obvious black and white kind of example to demonstrate my point. Somebody comes to you, a friend comes to you, and they're upset at you and they're telling you, they're yelling at you. And your response is a slap. Now, the outcome of that could be many things. They might leave, think you're crazy, and speak badly about you to many people around you. Might sabotage your work environment. They might slap you back. You might yell at each other. And that has all sorts of consequences in your life. When you're in a place where you're less reactive and more responsive, you're in a place where you can hear the criticism and the yelling, and you don't meet it. You can say, I must have said or done something that hurt your feelings. I don't know what it is. Can you help me understand what I did? Or you can know exactly what you did and say, wow, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how much it hurt you. And of course, that response will change the course of your near future. This is how you change your reality. So all these emotions of shame and anger, of victimhood inside of you makes you react to your life as opposed to respond to your life. And it changes your life one step at a time. So learning to release yourself from all these shameful feelings and the guilt feelings and I'm not good enough and you're not good enough, all of it is about, am I lovable? Am I lovable? Am I worthy of love? And if you're full of secrets and shame, you don't feel lovable and worthy of love. Therefore, it taints everything you do. So that's authenticity. That's spirituality. Your profound humanity is your spirituality. Spirituality. There is no difference. There's no boundaries between those two. So I try to bring it to the very simple here and now, honoring the body, honoring the very simple steps that we all know are necessary to be well. And that's to be honest. And therefore, providing a space where hopefully you feel safe. And that's what I provide. But there's many ways to get that. To feel safe, to finally release all that. That way you transform you. I'm not doing it.
I absolutely love everything you said. So
No,
beautiful,
thank
beautiful
you.
explanation, and I know it's going to help many, many people watching this. Now, I do. You already mentioned this once, but let's dive into how you got involved with the harmonic egg modality. I understand
Mm.
that this healing technology involves the use of bioresonance and sacred geometry. How did you get involved with this, and how does it all work?
I got involved with it through a woman. I forgot her last name. I wish I could give her credit. Susan, Susan, who was a therapist working with autistic kids, and she told me about the harmonic egg, which is an incredible tool, again, to reset your central nervous system. And it's basically a huge egg shape place that you step into, and it has angles. The whole egg has different angle. That's sacred geometry. It has light on the top, above you and below you. A comfortable chair that reclines to zero gravity, which is very soothing to your body. So you lay there, and together through conversation, we pick light and sound. Songs that are created for the egg, that are frequencies that again will soothe the body. It basically is like the deepest meditation you could have. So even if you're a newbie to meditation and you think you're terrible at it, one session in the egg and you come out of it so chill. So again, it's that shift of reacting to responding, rest and digest as opposed to fight or flight. So the space of you mentally fighting imaginary monsters all day long, those, your fist come down, that comes down, and then your body is in a deep relaxation mode, and your body can then start doing what it does best, which is heal and repair, right? So that's what the egg is. It brings you in a deep state of meditation. It's a central nervous system reset through sound and light, and the sacred geometry of the egg moves the sound and the light 365 degree. And so it's not a just listening to sound. It's a body. It's like the whole body is feeling the sound. It's
Well,
wonderful. I love that tool.
I've known and had guests on here talking about how frequency is key in healing. But yeah, I was wondering about the sacred geometry, how it helped enhance healing along with bioresonance or frequency.
I think it modulates and works with um, these um, these fields that we were discussing. So if you think of yourself, again, going back to 99.9% space, and you are mostly fields upon fields upon fields, sacred geometry works with these fields. So it's an aspect, again, like the third arm, right? It's an aspect of us that many of us are very unaware of, but we're starting to relearn all that science, the science of what we are. So these fields react very well with sacred geometry. You can Google sacred geometry and it will go on and on and on. And I wouldn't feel capable of really giving it its due, time. But yes, I think it's an interaction with the fields that you are that really affects you. Again, when I realized that, I understood why what I was hands-on healing, the healing that was happening through me made so much sense because I was basically accessing and working with the fields, and we are mostly that. So, of course, not accessing and working with these fields is silly when you think about it, if it's mostly what you are.
Is is the harmonic egg? Is that something? Is it available to people
Yes.
who aren't rich?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It's not expensive, and they're all over the United States. I mean, I don't know exact number, but at least 50 plus or 60 plus eggs around the United States. So you can Google it and you'll find out if there's one near you. Yes, it's
And
extremely accessible.
And you're in Los Angeles, of course. I'll put the links to all of that
Thank
in
you.
the show notes here. Um, yeah, really, really amazing. Do you know who invented the harmonic egg?
Yes, Gail. What is wrong with me? I can't remember last name. Gail Lynn.
Gail?
Gail, and I think Lynn.
Oh,
Gail Lynn,
I
yeah,
should know
created
that
it.
myself, but
Should be a great one to have on.
yeah,
She can go deep into all that.
I'll have to look into this. Is just phenomenal thing. We've only got a couple minutes left here. One real quick thing. You have a business called Shakeology. What is that?
That's that's like almost the aspect of my life that was all about fitness and creating shakes. So yeah, it's my husband's business, and I stepped in to create those shakes and other products that are detoxed and that are organic, non-GMO, clean, all that. We source a lot of things from Europe because they don't have any GMO over there. They don't have pesticides. So that's another love of mine, which is more the body. So I create a lot of stuff for that company. I also helped with all their physical program, their fitness program for a long time. Now it's bigger and there's many people that are taking care of all that, but I was part of the beginning of that.
You know what I like about that? When I first hear, another nutritional supplement company, but what I like here is that you also work on the spiritual mind, body, spirit aspect. So
Mostly, yeah.
you can't just do nutritional supplements and think it's a
No.
magic elixir. You have to, walk authentically into that and trust and believe too.
Yes, I would say that nowadays, I believe that if you had to choose, take care of your emotions and how you live your life, how at peace you are, in integrity, all the things we just talked about, that will go a long way to creating health in your body. That would be my go-to first. But of course, eating healthy, moving your body, all that is true, of course.
Well, and let's talk about moving your body. I've been a runner for many, many, many years. I've run lots of marathons. Physical exercise is a key in my life. But, I have found many people said, the only time I'm going for a run is if somebody's chasing me with a gun. But, you've got to train your spiritual, your mind, but you also have to have your body. And generally, when you exercise, it leads to better quality of life and overall happier and healthier life. Who doesn't want that?
Well, it feels good. It feels good to move.
Hmm.
Like even when I'm sick, we were talking about that. I just moved through something. I still need to move. It doesn't mean I exercise, but I'll move my body, a little Tai Chi. I'll just walk. I'll move my body. It's important for the flow,
Hmm.
energetic as well. Like moving is an intricate part of what we are. It's the body loves to move. So yeah, I'm very much in love with taking care of our bodies as well. Like I said, I think it's divine, and you can move it in a million different ways. I'm not a runner. I like kettlebells and I like track and field, and you can dance. There's so many different ways to move your body. There's no one way. Find out what you can sustain. If walking is what you love, then walk, right? Don't let people tell you this is how it has to be. Find out what it is that you can integrate in your life on a regular basis that you can sustain. That's the most important part.
Yeah, I absolutely agree 100%. Yeah, well said. So, well, Isabelle Daikeler, awesome. I mean, you're amazing. You said you like to write. I hope you got a book in the works.
No, I don't.
Oh, come
I
on.
like writers, though. I really do.
Oh man, I'd love to read your book. But
Yeah,
one
thank you.
last, one last thing, what is your website and what is the best way for people to connect with you?
My website is the best way, authenticitystressless.com. I'm on Instagram as well. I think Facebook as well. I'm terrible at technology. I have an assistant who takes care of that, thank God. But yeah, I like directly to my website. But you can see a little bit of me on Instagram. But it's all authenticitystressless.com. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for blessing us on being on World Awakenings. I really love what you're doing. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And you're really good at what you do. It was very enjoyable. Thank you.
This has been another episode of World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with host Carl Gruber, a certified Law of Attraction life coach. We welcome you to tune in to each and every episode of World Awakenings as we open your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to the truth of all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how much they play an all-important role in our moment-to-moment daily life. Much love and light to you, my friend, and thank you for tuning into World Awakenings.